Everyone, welcome back. How's it going? Excuse me. So we are gonna do another tutorial. um, but today we're gonna do something like this. Little sparks on our slashes. Yeah, crazy, something like that. Yeah, it's real simple. It adds a lot. You can overdo it, and you can see all these little settings I have here. We're gonna go through some different sort of effects, doing like basically the same effect, but how they have a different sort of emotional or game feel effect as we go through it. So stick around and we'll do that. So basically, you start with this. And this is like the tutorial. They have my channel you can find. We just use a circular mesh to create this slash effect. We just rotate the texture around it and fade it out and scale it and stuff to do different things. And like this by itself like looks really hot, and this is gonna sound really strange, but like sometimes adding these particles can kind of cannibalize that effect. Like right there that looks pretty dope, but like right here it's like maybe a little bit too much. But that's up to you. In some angles this looks really dope. So, and then on some attacks, again like this one, I think it looks really good. Yeah, so just get to it. Chatting. Hopefully this sounds okay. Turn up the gain again. I mumble a lot, trying really hard not to. But hopefully it sounds better this time. Just turn up the gain on the mic. So we have our basic flash effect that we've done already. It's gonna actually expand. So right there. Pretty cool. We have more shader, like the prefab viewer window doesn't always have like all the post processing effects. No, that's not that important, but so it looks so different. What we want to do is go ahead on this same object. This is another reason why this effect is cool, because we can scale it. To do, create an empty, we'll call it tutorial ring sparks. Go ahead and add another object. I like to parent, call it particles. Wow, I had it right. And add a particle system. And from the get-go, it kind of just blows them all over the place. I'll start with, I personally almost always like to do burst. We'll do 30, it works well. Just some pre-setup stuff. I usually like to do 1-1 right away. And so for our shape, we start with a cone, but we want to go along this edge. Go ahead and that. It's right there. Oh. Usually, I don't know. Sometimes it like will hold it. I don't know why. Maybe if I try one more thing, if it doesn't work, it's not a big deal. Select, yeah, there we go. Oh, but now we can't edit. Maybe we can do it like this though. So we'll do that later when we get to that point. What we want is two things. For one, well, I don't know how to start it, but we'll just start with a circle. They go like this. So let's go ahead and scale it up closer to what we wanted. Just trying to give more like preface to this, but like, nah, dog. Just get into it. Go ahead and scale it up. We want to line it up pretty perfect. I like to go in just a little bit. And so right now this isn't doing much. So right now, it has this circle, and by default it gives it, velocity radiating from the center of that circle. So radius thickness we actually want 0. We can change that actually. I'm just realizing I could. There's a few ways we can like offset that. We can do this, and then there's you can randomize the position too. To give it a little more thickness. Will make more sense here in a second. So they're appearing all around it. We don't quite want that. So you can either grab the arc like this, or you can go like this. So now they're starting around that, and it's going to be a little bit closer to what our flash effect looks like, you know, along those lines. We don't want it quite that big because of some more of the effect that we're going to do. So cool thing, Unity, it's not like super new anymore, but it's newer to me. It's using velocity over lifetime, but we do this orbital one. I believe it's on Z. Turn that up. You can see now they rotate around like that. This again. Oops. Please. Gosh, my bad. We're actually going this way. So sometimes doing negative stuff through particles can be obnoxious. So instead of fighting it, let's just do this. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 3, 4, 6. That's 180. If we go back in it, it's going around like that. So right now, it's just doing it 2.3 over its entire life, like the whole time. What we want instead is a curve. So we will go ahead, and again, you know, we like to do fast in, slow out, matches our animation. And if you didn't know, you can just edit right here. I didn't realize that for a long time. What I would do is like, I'd go to constant, and then set it to like 8 or whatever the value I want it is, and then go to curve, and then it sets that like right there. You can actually just set it right here, which I didn't know. And so if we glance at it, our circle, we start here and end right there. So that's going maybe a little bit too far. And our particles. And we kind of want it to go a little bit extra, but you know, not too much. And after we do just like some preliminary setup here, I'll go into one that I've already created that looks a lot nicer. And like I mentioned, one of the cool things about it, we can go ahead and set it, our scaling mode to hierarchy. And already it got too big. I already know the arc is around 20 or so. Some things got messed up. What, really? Huh. Mine was 20. Oh, radius. Oh, it is at 20. What did I do last time? Doesn't matter too much. Just relative numbers doesn't have to be. So we'll just scale it down. And we're lined up again. I mean, this is kind of like covers it. That's like the gist of what's going on. But we'll go over some of the shortcomings and things. I don't like how much it's scaled up like this. What does my other one look like? 0.2? Okay, we'll go ahead and do that. Because now you get some weird interactions with like the size of the particles themselves. You can see like particles are more like what I would have in mind. Looking good. All right, so we're gonna do a setting here. Green, spark, right. Duplicate that one. And start with an orb. It's like a basic one. Do the material slot. Boop. I really don't like this background. Is there a way to, y'all know how to set that? Can I just have like a, can I do that in the prefab viewer? That's obnoxious. All right, well, let's do, go out, back into our scene view, and we'll just drop one in the scene. It just looks nicer, and it's just, for certain settings, it's nice to have it in the prefab viewer, but let's actually go ahead and just see how it looks. I actually want to. Looping. That's, you know, it is what it is. Go ahead and step through. You can see they sort of start up right away. But they're following along pretty closely. Seems off about it, but nothing too special there. You just start adding some variety and things like that. So over here in the hierarchy, I actually have it in the particle or the prefab viewer. When we make changes over here, it'll actually do it for each new instance of the prefab. Already, I think we just want to rotate it over more. You're in play mode, it doesn't always show all the options. Oops. Try that. So it was a little bit too much. So we'll go 2 ticks back. I did 4 while holding control. And I think each degree is 90 divided by 6. I don't remember what it is. It's getting closer. At least it's lined up. So a few things. I think that for one, for me, I like the stretched billboard look. Don't know why I didn't update. A little confused about that. A little strange. Oh, they are stretched. Just not stretched that much. Go back into the scene view. Scale it down so we can see it better. So it's good to like just scrub your playback time right here, and then we'll kind of mess with the settings here, and then don't forget to hit apply afterward, because now we're doing it in the, not in the prefab viewer, in the just the scene view. So firstly, it could definitely be faster. And I'm using values that I already know are good. Then in the shape, we can randomize that position, which I think does a lot. And that'll give it some thickness. Neat thing you can do is actually scale it along here too. So it'll sort of mimic that look that we have with our like our slash effect. I want those to stretch out more in the beginning. Go ahead. Make them bigger. I guess we'll just do it step by step. So we'll do size over time. We want bigger to smaller. Start with that, and then we'll get more advanced as we go. And so right away, now I'm realizing what like one of the main things is that we don't want our velocity to be consistent. We actually want random between two curves. So just this right here, having a few particles that actually don't go anywhere is going to give us like a nicer shape. Hit play, now we have that spread out that looks much better. Go ahead. Apply that. I just wanted to make sure I wasn't doing, because this is the one I use in my own games. Wasn't doing anything crazy. Swing. Yeah, see, I fudged it up. Woo. I can't believe I did that. I even like hesitated. I'm like, am I gonna mess this up? Oops. This is not going very smoothly. I'm sorry. Maybe we'll start over. Already, that's kind of neat. Till our scale is like kind of lousy. It's still not the right size. You know, it looks nice enough, but not that big. Maybe it was. I think I scaled it down 9 ticks. That was so bad. I did that. It's way too big. Looks cool though, huh? Oh, this is like Bayonetta where your slashes are like super giant. You can see that effect looks dope though, right? At least we're making cool looking stuff. I can't remember where it was at. 6 maybe? That seems right. And I have backups if I'm like desperate, and it's just the scale setting. It's not like I made any like, I think this is it. Seems a little big still, but I think that's it. All right, all right, all right. We're back up to speed. So check it out in the viewer again. So one thing is that we would want that like starting length to be longer. So we're gonna go ahead and do a 3D start size and make this 4. We already have this length scale. I like to like not do that. Sure, there's some cool stuff you could do there, but where it's more dynamic. Eight. Longer than that. 10 even. Go ahead and check that out. pretty small. Seem to be getting very small. Lifetime either. I know I didn't go all the way, but it just seemed a little bit weird. Better. So honestly, like that's like the gist of it. Then you can just do further things to make it look nicer. There's a shortcoming, however. It's a real bummer, but I don't know how you get around it. Well, there's one option that we can try. And the shortcoming is when we go like this. Let's say we want these to be like really long. We start to get this like jagged effect, right? Go through just because of how the pivots are and how the particles are still just straight. And so it can be kind of nice. It's not like the worst thing, but if you wanted it to like be perfectly round, that can look really nice in its own way. You can do different things to like this with the pivot, sort of soften that a little bit. But the problem is that when you're shrinking it down, like when you do size over time, you can see we're moving forward, but our scale is going this way, and it can kind of make your particles look like they're stopping, even though they're still moving forward, but they're just shrinking, so it looks like they're staying in place. And it can be fine, honestly. Like you're fine with that. But it's just something to consider. The way we might be able to get around it is by using a trail renderer. And we'll see what that looks like. I haven't actually tried it. But it'll be interesting. So one thing I think is to have more variation in our also. These numbers seem giant. I don't understand. So it's kind of cool. We really need to fix the renderer. I meant to do that. The material, rather. By default, you can. It's actually kind of nice to just set your materials to like white and then like maybe some red or yellow down here. It can kind of depend. The reason is that you can control it further with color over lifetime. And we're using a pre-multiplied blending type, so we'll go ahead and just do that. It'll already make it additive blend, which looks a lot better. Fade it into like this, and then fade it out. That's looking pretty cool. Getting the right particle adds a lot. Right now, it almost looks like watery. We could stretch it out more, but again, we get into that jagged look. You know, certain angles like this looks sweet, but like right here, can kind of look kind of jaggedy. It doesn't look that bad though, honestly. How crazy we can get. There's the problem I talked about. Certain angles, it looks really dope. Right here, that's super sick. Then like, not too bad. Here, you get that. It's not ideal. We could just do a better job with our size over time. We here. Oh, it's a different system. Prefix. But basically we could do something like this and keep it flat. Actually looking pretty cool. Again, like, it's just hard because of that. I don't know why I turned Canadian for a second there. It's looking pretty tight though. I mean, better than I thought. Like, it's better than some of the ones I made, so. You just need a way to. I think the thing is just to bring this down. And just not scale it down so much over time. Yeah. Looks really good. I don't have it on some of the effects. So, we're just using a basic orb here, just like a blurred sphere. Can give it a little bit of texture, can be nice. Looks a little bit more like fire or something now. If we, watch this over and over as we're like testing it, and then go ahead and stop it. There's something nice about just the slash effect, like I mentioned. So you kind of like don't want to lose that. So it's important to like make it work with it instead of like take it over. So one thing I like to do, and it'll, because we're bad, is make it fade in, and it's going to help with that sort of spikiness in the beginning too, because they have to fade in. I'm liking the orb better. Orb, don't say it. I hate that meme. Love your stuff. How would you create slash effect that is circular but not perfectly circular? So in the video for that original one, I kind of cover it, some different options. Do you mean, I mean, I can do it with the mesh, but like, if you mean for like this, these scale, like these particles will scale with it. So if we do like, go to the Y scale, like 0.5. See, it scales with it. It's kind of hard to tell. So big. And running into some issues. Let's see it with kind of the same issues. It does work though. You just might have to make some adjustments. If you can be a little more specific, you can. It gets really hard if you're like using the velocities in the particle system. There's someone who's maybe a little bit better at it could do it, because this radial velocity sort of creates that, radial motion around it, and like the velocity over lifetime. Perfectly circular. Okay, maybe that answers it. If you can answer or ask it a little more specifically, you might be able to give you a more specific answer. Looking dope. So anyway, back to that, where that effect hanging out too long can be kind of cannibalize your like original effect. So something like that can be nice, where it fades out sooner. They just pumped up the simulation speed. Actually, a nice little setting is to change the lifetime, so some of them will fade out sooner. It kind of makes your particles look less dense because, you know, some are not lasting as long. So wanted, although we're breaking a rule, it's longer than the duration of this. Didn't really think that's a bad idea. And now some of them last longer. Let's also talk about some other things you could do. Like, I'm gonna go ahead and duplicate this so we have our old one. So right now we appear along that curve that we made, like the particles spawn all at once along this arc in our shape setting on property. So it's the radius, we want the arc. Make this arc a lot smaller. Difference. It'll look weird at first, but then we can compensate with the velocity. Now we're appearing just in the beginning, you know what I mean? And that can look really cool too. Like, there's just a lot of different ways to handle this. So if we wanted that shape, the like sort of overall shape of the effect, to sort of match our slash better, we could pump this up. That's our radial velocity. Yeah, it's a little bit too much. You can see how that's really cool though in its own way. So you may think that's like identical, but it has a different feeling to it. And you may like this. And sometimes I'm like, yeah, that looks better. But on other days, I'm like, you know what I actually like? I kind of like it when our arc is actually really big. And it's going to be similar to our original one. Our arc was pretty huge. I think it was at 80. 120. And then make our velocity actually really slow. 4. I know that seems like kind of weird and like it looks kind of identical, but it's sort of a different effect. Because this means like there's not much, and your eye can like sense the difference. It's like, you know, rather than shooting out and following along, which is cool. We have our slash effect. And they just sort of pop in all around it. And they only rotate for a little bit. Actually, put a delay on it. That can feel like a lot different. And like that lack of motion, actually, I think it's a little more sophisticated. Like, I know I use that word a lot. Compared to this, like, again, it's personal preference though, because you might like this. Because that's cool too, right? Like, I mean, that's sick. But personally, I prefer this just a little bit more. It's almost like it's cutting the air rather than like you're shooting like sparks out like along with the sword. This is almost like the sparks are like you're igniting the air, kind of. You know what I mean? Because those particles are just like appearing in the air, and it looks tight. So there's a few other settings you can kind of mess with. And I did a previous tutorial about using like rotating like an arm, like a pivot, and then like shooting particles outward. But you can get a similar effect by using this other setting, having some radial velocity. So this actually makes them shoot out. And here's a shortcoming with the stretched billboard is that the particles want to face their velocity the whole time. So you can see you can get some weird stuff where they're like flying out like that. So an effect like that can actually look better on our other one. Because our velocity is kind of like heavier. Did I? Oh, I did a whole new one. Give me a second. Do that. Keep down. Curve for that radial one. We have a similar motion. Quite yet. Hard to tell, but they are expanding outward. And because the radial velocity is higher, they're gonna prioritize facing that like rotational velocity. You can kind of see them expand. Pump it up. You can see, and then again they're kind of facing that direction. And that's cool in its own way. It's almost like they're facing the wrong direction though, you know what I mean? Like if we had them sort of rotated, like, you know, they're going like this, but if they were actually, I don't know, perpendicular isn't the right word, but like coming out the other way. And that's an effect we did like in a previous tutorial. But it would be nice if we could kind of set that more easily. But this looks cool in its own way, you know? Like, that's pretty tight. You know, combining these effects, having one that's more steady, and then have this one that's a little more wild, is pretty cool. And also add some noise, which is really popular right now. That'll probably never die. I'm not very good at using it yet. I like the effect. You see it a lot, and it's just kind of like, It's one of those effects where like you start to see the effect like in a meta sense rather than like what you're actually looking at. But that's just, you can say that's a nitpick, but you know what? Art is nitpicky. We have our visual effect here. It's actually looking pretty good by just doing a single dimensional size. Looks bad. We'll just leave that for now. Anyway, some noise. We can use the noise setting just straight up. That looks like I mentioned, the stretched billboard thing is gonna be kind of weird because they're gonna rotate a lot, but it can give you a nice effect. I know we've been saying that a million times. We'll start the strength at 0, and then near the end, just like pop it in. Five. It's subtle, and that's kind of the effect we want. It's to be subtle for like not looking so hot though. I'm just not good at using the noise. what I like to do instead is like force over lifetime. It's still not gonna look very good. I'm not good at it. So we're two curves here. I'm gonna do the same thing. Just gonna apply a force. We're gonna do it local, and the Z is kind of its like lateral, like. But it's like if we're standing on the, if we think of the slash as like a disc, it's like perpendicular to the disc. Kind of see going on there. It's subtle. Shouldn't be too bad because in the beginning it's gonna have a lot of radial force, so it still should mostly. Yeah, I can't make it look too hot. You can make this look really good. I am just like not good at it. I think you get the idea though. Kind of gives you, you know, like if you did like ash or something, it would look really hot. Like I would love it if I could get it to look good, but for now, go ahead and turn it off. There's another pretty cool setting. We can do size by speed, and it lets us sort of create the shape a little bit nicer. It's like a really dumb way to say that. So our speed range is at 12, so we'll go ahead and use that value. We want the inverse. We want the ones that went farther to be smaller, because that means they went faster. So that means the ones at the back are going to be like fatter. I would just want this linear, not a curve. Hard to tell. I don't know. Can you tell? It does make a difference, and it looks good. I wish there was a better way to control shapes like that. Like I wish, like our spread. You can see the ones up front are smaller. It's real subtle, but stuff. Dramatic. You know what I mean? Like you run into problems though. You're getting some weird stuff going on. I'm not sure why. Do I have it like backwards? I don't think so. Oops. I think maybe I did have it backwards. Please. Know what I'm saying? So now it's like fatter in the back. It just gives you more of a shape. It looks kind of bad on certain angles, but you can do some nice stuff with it. So let's go ahead and try that trail render because I'm curious myself. Turn that off. If we could get that to look better, because it'd be nice if we could like have the spread out more over here. And in fact, it would be nice if we could have a shape like. Right now, it's like. Tab it out of here. You know, this is our shape. And then this is like our proposed shape. Right now, our particles are just random. like around it like this, and we kind of scale it up to make it look, you know, more like this. It's kind of crescent-y. What would be really nice, and I'm not quite sure how to do it, is if we could have it like that. So then our effect is like curving in like that and coming to a point. That would look really hot. And I don't know. There's a few things I tried. Like you can do a cone. I wish you could do negative velocities easier in this because like you have to do some weird stuff or like negative angles. Like with the cone emitter, you can do like the cone emitter looks like this. Oh my gosh. Generally, they're like shooting out like this. But your angle is sort of like capped. It would be nice if our angle could go here. But you can get around it by doing a negative velocity on your starting particles. So then you can actually get pointed shapes like this. So if we could somehow... What's hard is that when you're using the radial velocity, if you do other stuff with it, things just get crazy complicated. Like it's so hard to get a consistent shape. But if y'all know of a way to do that, that would be really cool. I tried layering like a few on top of each other, but it was hard to get it to look right. I think if I tried really hard, you could do that, where you like layer them on top of each other. But it's not a huge deal. So let's go ahead and try that. I don't know if I duplicated this already, probably did. But... Rail renderer. Let's go here. Duplicate this. I think I have a pretty nice sort of trail particle that I like. I think this one's pretty good. I think it's better. And now with our particles, let's actually just keep them the same size here. And trail renders can get kind of weird, and sorry, someone was shouting. I hope you can't hear that. There's our trail on. I can see how that's cool. Rest of their settings. Neat in its own right. It's really not cyberpunky, but almost. It's like Lisa Frankie. I was trying to think of a better term. Kind of hot. Like the HBO intro. You know what I'm saying? That one. Forget how this works. Tooltips don't come up in run mode. Oh yes, all of them. Go flip. Flip. Cooler flip. Flip. Go back to what I asked before. I think you could be pretty hard to custom shape for slash. For the base slash, we do that. Like, let's see. Like we have this. You know, it's this. And then I have some other effects like I have to set this. This is the move. Not working. I was hitting the wrong button. Yeah. So we have this effect. Instead of using that ring, do it along a plane. Where you at? And it's as you expect. It's like instead of a straight, or instead of what the hey did I call it? Bullet slash wedge 2. Like that. It just goes along this. So you have sort of that angular look. Yeah, and like in another one, like let's see. Actually, good question, because we're seeing like different implementations. So on this one, I have since done it the new way, where I use those particles, but you can see you get that jagged look right there. It looks dope though. Like I'm pleased with it. I mean, it could be improved, but the overall motion is sick. Oops, reload. So alternatively, I had this. It was basically just a copy of that slash. And it looks real similar, but it is instead a bunch of circles, a bunch of dots along one of those meshes. So it's nice because we actually get like curvature around the like curved parts, you know what I mean? Like these particles are actually curved, and that looks nice. They go along. Oh, the renders. What? Why aren't you letting me? It's paused. It should let me. That's weird. Turn off the animator. Thought if you pause it, it would just let you. Still not working, huh? That must not be the instance. It says it's the instance. That's really weird. I don't know why that didn't work. You get the idea, but obnoxious. In here. What if we mess with that now? Hey there. Let's see. Sorry, it's going all fast. It's hard to tell, but it actually like wraps around in like a circular way, a rounded way. And there's some like, as I get better at shaders and stuff, I'm sure there's some just I could apply some like object space like shader stuff like to the particles, and like you could just bend it. You could do an effect, I think, where you just like shoot the particle straight out and then just write a shader that actually just bends it. Wouldn't be, it'd be some hard math in there. If you're doing it in 2D, you could do it like real easy, but second method looks cooler. I know what you're saying. Appreciate the feedback. I don't need to have it on there now. Unless you meant this one, which is a different move. Move looks cool though. I don't have the gunfire effects on that one. I think, oh yeah, we were messing with the rail renderer. So that's kind of cool. I mean, by shortening the there's definitely something there. Messing with trails is like hard. And another thing that's difficult about it is that trails don't have their shape until you've gone through a few frames. So like if we swing, we generate our particles. They're only this long. And like it's kind of nice, but you know, even if you do like pre-warm, it won't actually, because the trails are like what's the word? Oh no. I was just about to say it too. It's not like I forget it, but it's like it literally just dropped out of my mind. Not dynamic, but oh my god, procedural. Like they have to, you know, generate as they go through. And you know, it'd be nice if they could start this long and then like fade out. Another shortcoming with it. It is cool though. I mean, that's a neat effect in its own right. And we could mess with the like settings here, and that's neat in its own way, you know. And we could randomize it. I might be. There's a Kirby looking effect. Really hope you can't hear that. They have the TV up really loud. And it only works with the version where we have that small arc, and then they shoot out. That's not a shortcoming. But it is kind of neat. This one I made earlier today. Oh, that's one. Yeah, that's one where the noise looks a little bit better. Change our color here. Show you like the blue can look really cool. This is just a separate thing. It's just nice to show stuff off. 8. Loving that blue actually. Looks cooler with the other one. Or some of the other particles I made, I mean. Yeah, just like that one. It might be going the wrong way. It might be an older one. Yeah, see, that's just doing the radial stuff to shoot it out. But we have the noise on there too. Well, external forces, actually. It's hard to see, but I fade to black with this one, like a hard black. Part of the reason is okay, good. Mike isn't picking it up. They have the TV up really loud. One. Let's see. Show you. That's doing it in reverse. I know it's kind of weird, but on some effects, it can actually look good. Let's actually go back. We can see on that final swing. Can actually look cool where it's kind of going the opposite direction. Just another thing to consider. Like on those effects, it looks a little weird, but this the one that's like really slow, yeah. I messed with the colors, it doesn't look as good. It's just another thing to show. Like if you have it just really slow, it kind of, this is just an animation principle. The longer your effects stay out, sort of like the slower it feels. Even though like that initial slash is pretty fast, it's gonna give you like a slow motion in the end. One that we made, one of the ones we made today looks really good. Switch to that one. Yeah, just that one. I love it. Looks nice. I believe that about does it. You could do some fancier stuff where like instead of doing the stretch, well, not fancy, but like say you do like a stretched billboard. We could try it real quick. Let's try it. Do something different. You can do regular billboard. Let's see how that looks. When you don't do the stretched billboard, you can get away with like those force effects a little bit better. Those particles aren't they're not rotating with their velocity. So you can get fancier. Make a new material. Lake effect. Doesn't look good yet. Duplicate this. One that I had already, so just know that it's a nice shape. Inner glow too. I don't know. I have to look at it again. I mean, I like when they don't travel too much. Got that. It's nothing fancy yet. We want our arc to be even bigger this time. Give it a little more velocity. Then what the heck? Weird shape. What the mess? I just do 360 and negative 360. I think it's just 180 is all you need, but see where I'm getting with this. And we did billboard, but let's actually just do a mesh. I'm getting out with this. It's pretty cool, right? We wanted to do something a little bit different. Fancy. A little whack right now. But custom data on. Get this to work. this gets complicated. Hopefully it's this one. Forget which one I have it on. Particle systems are weird. Is it that one? Basically, the alpha cutoff. You can animate it. So, you know, we could do this as it animates. It look really tight, but I can't remember. I can't remember what particles I even. Let's look real quick. So it's y. Texture coordinates 1.y. Oops, that's the one. It's working. I actually thought it was like Z or W. Can't remember what effects I even did it. Anyway, it's getting long-winded now, but I was really hoping it was that one. This one? Vision particle systems, dude. Like it's any of these. I can't think of which ones I used. It is up. It's not turning on. Anyway, it would look really tight. Believe me. Can't get it to. Then, as those are floating around, you know, the alpha cutoff would fade out like that. Look really good, but I can't remember how to make this work. Well, now it's on one of those. Anyway, just another cool thing you could do. It's just not done very well. One of them has it. Like I had to enable both of them for it to work. It's so weird. And even though it's like Y in here or whatever, I think it is like Z or W like in here. Anyway. Enjoy the tutorial. That was a strange way to end it, but it's a cool effect. It's easy to do. Yeah, maybe actually, I think that's actually just because I had it turned up. Cool. 4. Pretty dope. But yeah, I like it a lot. It's tight. Hope y'all enjoyed it. Support has been like crazy good lately, so thank y'all so much. I haven't even posted this on Twitter yet, but my family went through kind of a tragedy recently. So your support has been really awesome. I don't want to mention it here in the video. It's just not the place for it, but so yeah, the support is like really appreciated. If you have any questions, let me know. You can support these videos at patreon.com/cultureattack. Follow me on Twitter at cultureattack. I like to answer game dev questions or just talk about game dev or art or games. Yeah. Again, thank y'all so much. I teach a class here in a few weeks, which is like freaking me out. It's only a few nights, but it's freaking me out. And yeah, after that, we're going to get back into that character action game tutorial. There's some big topics that I haven't covered yet. Main thing is like enemy AI. So we'll get into that. Yeah, I'm just kind of low energy today. I danced a bunch yesterday, and I like woke up late today, or woke up early, and I fell asleep late, so I'm like kind of out of it. But I appreciate y'all tolerating me, and I hope you got something out of this video. Love y'all very much. Take care.